Imagine a world without Superman. No Batman, no Wonder Woman, no Gotham, no Metropolis, no DC Universe. Sounds impossible, right? Yet the entire DC Comics empire exists only because of a failed humor magazine, a pulp writer drowning in debt, and two teenagers in Ohio who refused to quit. One shady handshake nearly erased every hero you love. And if just one thing had gone differently in the 1930s, your favorite superheroes, epic cinematic universes, and even the word superhero itself might never have taken flight. It all begins with Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson. The decorated U.S. Army major left the military in the 1920s, turned pulp fiction author, and in 1935 took the wild gamble of publishing comics made entirely of new material. His magazine, New Fun Comics, was the first comic book of wholly original stories, a radical break from cheap news strip reprints. But commissioning writers and artists cost real money, and soon debt smothered the major's dream. Desperate to keep the presses rolling, he accepted a lifeline from printer-distributor Harry Donenfeld. Donenfeld was no ordinary businessman. During Prohibition, his presses turned out salacious pulps, and according to long-whispered rumor, laundered bootleg cash for mobster Frank Costello. He could sell anything coast to coast, and he knew how to seize opportunity. In 1937, he and Wheeler Nicholson set up Detective Comics Incogs. Donenfeld bankrolled the print runs, but hidden clauses put every asset in his grasp. In early 1938, while Wheeler Nicholson was lured onto a business cruise to Havana, Donenfeld sued for unpaid invoices, forced Detective Comics into bankruptcy court, and bought the company for pennies. When the major came home, the locks were changed. The pioneer who invented original comic books spent the rest of his life freelancing and serving stateside in World War II. He died in 1965, nearly penniless and largely forgotten. But the spark he struck had already leapt across the country. In a cramped bedroom in Cleveland, teenager Jerry Siegel, story-obsessed son of Jewish immigrants, scribbled feverishly while his artistic best friend, Joe Shuster, penciled muscular heroes by candlelight. In 1933, they dreamed up Superman. First, a bald, telepathic villain. Then, after endless revisions, an alien infant rocketed from a doomed world, raised on Earth, blessed with powers far beyond mortal men. 50 editors said no. File drawers filled with rejection slips. Editor Vince Sullivan finally said yes. For a flat fee of $130, Detective Comics bought Superman and ran him on the cover of Action Comics #1 in June 1938. The country exploded. Kids fought for copies. Newsstands sold out overnight. The idea that one extraordinary being could right wrongs and inspire hope took hold of the national psyche. Sullivan and Donenfeld moved fast. They needed more icons. In May 1939, artist Bob Kane and unsung co-writer Bill Finger introduced Batman in Detective Comics #27. Kane supplied the name and costume sketch, but Finger chose the cowl, the cape, and the detective noir tone that made a gun-free, fear-driven vigilante leap across Gotham's rooftops. Batman's pulp mystery roots balanced Superman's bright optimism, and his first year's sales more than doubled the magazine's circulation. 2 years later, psychologist William Moulton Marston, co-inventor of the lie detector test, pitched a superheroine who would conquer with love instead of fists. With artist H.G. Peter, he created Wonder Woman, debuting in All-Star Comics #8, December 1941, just days before Pearl Harbor. Diana's mythic origins, bullet-deflecting bracelets, and truth-binding lasso resonated with wartime America. By 1945, her solo title was outselling Captain America and Human Torch combined. Bolstered by those three pillars, DC's Golden Age roster expanded almost monthly. The Flash. College sweetheart Jay Garrick, created by Gardner Fox and Harry Lampert, sprinted into Flash Comics #1, January 1940. His Mercury-inspired winged helmet and speed powers thrilled readers. By year's end, the book rivaled Action Comics in sales. Green Lantern, railroad engineer Alan Scott, born from the artist Martin Odell's Magic Ring concept and Bill Finger's scripting, lit up All-American Comics #16, July 1940. Children mailed in homemade lantern rings by the hundreds. Aquaman, ocean-crawling adventurer, created by editor-writer Mort Weisinger and artist Paul Norris, surfaced in More Fun Comics #73, November 1941. The same issue that introduced Green Arrow. Although a backup feature, Aquaman's undersea escapades gained a steady fan club of coastal readers and Navy servicemen. Martian Manhunter, detached detective John Johns, transported to Earth by a lab mishap, was dreamed up by writer Joseph Samaxon and artist Joe Certa in Detective Comics number 225, November 1955. His shape-shifting alien perspective would later anchor DC's cosmic stories. When the superhero fad waned after World War II, editor Julius Schwartz revived the concept in 1956 Showcase number 4 with a streamlined science fiction version of The Flash, police scientist Barry Allen, penned by John Broome and drawn by Carmine Infantino. Sales skyrocketed, launching the Silver Age and opening the door for a modern Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, 1959, by Broome and Gil Kane. By 1960, DC's pantheon was so deep that writer Gardner Fox simply gathered the heavy hitters into one book, The Justice League of America, debuting in The Brave and the Bold, number 28. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, and the Martian Manhunter fought Starro the Conqueror, and a new era of team-up storytelling began. The JLA's first issue tripled Brave and the Bold's average print run and pushed Marvel's young publisher, Martin Goodman, to tell Stan Lee, "Give me a team too," indirectly spawning the Fantastic Four. From the late 1930s through the mid-1960s, DC's circulation figures were the envy of the industry. Action Comics sold nearly 1 million copies a month at its peak. Batman's 1943 and 1949 movie serials packed Saturday matinees. Superman's radio adventures aired on 300 stations. The 1952 Adventures of Superman TV show made George Reeves a household name. Licensing deals put caped crusaders on lunchboxes, pajamas, and grocery store cereal backs. By the time Harry Donenfeld suffered a stroke in 1962, DC's annual revenue from comics and merchandise topped $60 million, a staggering sum for printed pamphlets selling at 10 to 12 cents a piece. Yet the people who birthed these legends reaped little of the fortune. Jerry Siegel spent the 1950s composing ad copy and eventually sorting mail at a Los Angeles post office to support his family. Joe Shuster's eyesight degenerated until he was legally blind, sketching on scraps for pennies in a cramped Queens walk-up. In 1947, they sued DC for Superman's rights and lost. A judge upheld the 1938 work-for-hire contract, erasing their byline for nearly 30 years. Public sympathy finally turned the tide. When Warner Brothers prepared to launch Superman, the movie in 1978, comics pros and journalists exposed Siegel and Shuster's plight. Fan letters flooded editorial offices. TV anchors grilled executives on air. Under mounting pressure, DC's parent company awarded each creator an annual $20,000 pension and restored their on-page credit. It wasn't wealth, but it was dignity, and a precedent for creator rights that would echo through the industry. As for Donenfeld, he remained a backstage mogul. His distribution arm, Independent News, made him the traffic controller of America's newsstands. Yet his name rarely appeared in print, and after his 1965 death, he slipped into footnotes, known mostly to publishing historians. Wheeler Nicholson, too, was nearly forgotten until comics scholars and his own granddaughter revived his story in recent years. So trace the butterfly effect. If Wheeler Nicholson hadn't gambled on original comics, Donenfeld's money couldn't have hijacked an industry. If Siegel and Shuster had lost faith after the 49th rejection, Superman would never have flown. Without Superman's sales spike, Batman might have stayed Bill Finger's dusty outline. Wonder Woman might never have lassoed the public conscience. Flash's lightning bolt, Green Lantern's glowing ring, Aquaman's trident, and Martian Manhunter's green visage might have remained sketches in desk drawers. No Justice League, no summer blockbusters, no shared cinematic universes commanding billions at the global box office. Sometimes the greatest legacies come from the unlikeliest people, and sometimes those people never live to see the mountains their tiny snowballs create. If this story moved you, there's another twist of fate waiting. Click right here to watch our next episode. If not for a missed flight, Marvel wouldn't exist. You'll hear how a single canceled airship ticket in 1937 set off a chain reaction that eventually gave us Spider-Man, Iron Man, and the entire Marvel universe. If you enjoyed this journey through comic book history, please like the video. It signals the algorithm that these stories matter. Comment below with your favorite DC hero or a forgotten creator we should spotlight next. We read every message and respond when we can. Share this episode with a friend who loves comics, movies, or underdog tales, and smash that subscribe button with the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming deep dives into pop culture's biggest what-ifs. Your support keeps these forgotten histories alive, and remember, if not for this, this wouldn't exist.